everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Community Ledger. My name is Drea Banu, and today I want to jump into an interview that was on CNN last night with Gabby Phillips. It got rather hot, okay? It was rather hot. I thought somebody was going to jump across the table, but they were able to control themselves as best they can, because they still mad about this Kamala loss. They just can't process it. They can't process it. And so I want you to join me. Watch Democrats utterly fall apart. Fall apart in front of us to enjoy. Take a look.
A lot of Democrats think this was the beginning of the end for the Biden presidency.
I couldn't walk into a bar anywhere in America and not have people come up to me from both parties and thank me for what we did. So actually, this is a great example of how the Biden administration, this Democratic administration, was really out of touch with America, pulling us out of Afghanistan in a haphazard way that cost American lives and ultimately really impacted our foreign policy was a mistake. And we should be able to admit that. And we as Democrats should be willing to fix it.
I just came from an event where I was hosting this event tonight for Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. And I love how people just tuned in to caring about veterans during the pullout. That was like the worst.
I just have to say, Seth Moulton is a veteran.
I understand. Yeah. And I think that the idea that Joe Biden had the courage to do what no other president, including Barack Obama, who surged in Afghanistan, and those, 13 or 16 people who died in that bombing, thousands of other veterans died as a result of Republican policies. These were Republican policies, these wars. So, I mean, a lot of people feel that way about that horrible day in Afghanistan, and the things around it. But
it did create, though, there was a drop in support that they never.
It was so demagogued.
Scott has talked about this.
Look. If you look at the arc of the Biden presidency, he was in really good shape until August of 2021, when Afghanistan happened. He went under 40, she went under 40, and they really lived there until the end of the
Why?
He's still there.
Why?
Look,
I'll tell you why.
Because he ran and told us that the adults were back in charge. And that was the opposite of that.
Yeah, they were, because Donald Trump was a child.
And you know what else?
Yeah.
And you know what else?
The
fact that they wouldn't give these 13 service members' families the time of
bullshit,
day.
Dude.
Time of day.
I'm sorry, but Donald Trump hates veterans. He called them suckers and losers. He did. He absolutely despises. He has his whole life. He has his entire life.
I know you're super emotional. I just.
Of course I am. I'm terrified.
I'm telling you, the political reality is that when they made that decision.
It doesn't matter. You don't admit that Donald Trump
decision.
hates veterans. You don't admit it. You deny a man, Chief John Kelly, a Marine. You say he lied.
You're still campaigning.
You say he lied.
Let me let
It's not over. It'll never be over.
I want to hear what Cole
It'll never be over.
Oh my God, this man said so much that was just so off base and absolutely crazy that I just had to pause it for a minute. Oh my God, this man just stated that we just started caring about veterans. That is wild. Like, the fact that the Democrats allowed all of these immigrants to come in and paid for their housing, paid for their medical, paid for food, et cetera, where you have veterans literally sleeping on the street, but somehow Trump doesn't. As public citizens, we just now started caring about veterans. Wow. Okay. Maybe that's why we put Trump in office, because we actually do care about veterans, and we don't appreciate the fact that you can bring in all these immigrants and completely step over veterans. Okay. That is the problem. That is why Trump won, because we don't think that it's justifiable or that it's beneficial to just completely ignore veterans and homeless people and homeless citizens so that you can get cheap labor via immigrants. So that is just rank. I mean, totally disrespectful. 2, he says Donald Trump hates veterans. Okay, so why was Trump at the memorial for the 13 fallen soldiers who died during the Afghanistan withdrawal? How is that? He hates veterans, but he was the one that was there. Kamala nor Biden even picked up the phone to send their condolences. Could care less. To this day, could care less. All of the family members of every single one of those 13 fallen soldiers came out and said We haven't received any condolences or support from the Biden administration. And Kamala was running at the time. You would think she would have enough sense to say, let me show up, let me at least pretend to give a damn. But she ain't even do that. But Trump, who was not even in office during the time, came and supported these people. And that wasn't the first time. He did not just show up at Arlington Cemetery for a photo op. He had contacted those people before all of this happened, which is why they had a relationship with him, which is why they invited him, okay? Why they invited him to Arlington Cemetery on that day, not the Biden administration. So for you to sit up here and say Donald Trump hates veterans is a defamation of character, okay? And if I was Trump, I would be like, I'm about to drag you to court because that is blasphemous, okay? And then also he wants to talk about, you know, the polls, Scott Jennings said the polls show that the Biden administration's approval rating started to decline after the Afghan withdrawal. And he's like, no, nobody cares about that. What do you mean nobody cares about that? They polled the people. What do you mean nobody cares? Of course they care. That was an atrocity. We literally saw people's bodies dropping off of the side of the airplane as they took off. And you want to pretend that everybody still thought Biden was great after that? Are you crazy? Yes, you're crazy. Whew. Let me calm down and go ahead and play the rest of this video.
The political reality is when they made that decision and everyone realized, oh my gosh, these aren't the competent adults that we were promised.
Donald Trump does.
And then when you pile on top of it the decisions that made inflation worse, it was a compounding interest of political crap over time that they could never get out of, and that's how she lost the race.
There was a bipartisan consensus to get out of Afghanistan. That wasn't the point. It was the way it was done.
Decision to get out of
hold on. It was the implementation. It was the fact that they took out our soldiers first instead of last, which is you would think would be common sense. And again, it's like you said, we thought the adults were in the room. That's why people voted for Biden. A return to normalcy, a return to competence. He's a lifelong public servant. We thought we're going to get normal, we're going to get competent. And that's what
we did. We did. And if in the veterans community,
Afghanistan doesn't signal that.
The wars in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, the Republican policies that led to those wars, the idea that Joe Biden made the final difficult decision, and his administration and his military leaders. I mean, you guys live on the tippy top of bullshit mountain. If you actually think that so many people think that the pullout of Afghanistan was the pivot point, are you kidding me?
I mean, I can read a chart and I can read a poll. I guess you can't. But the reality is when he made that decision.
Your petty insults are so weak, dude. You have no idea. Like, I don't even understand if you hear yourself talking.
Look,
you can laugh all you want, but like, I can't read.
Isn't that hilarious? He literally just told that man sitting next to him, you live on the tip top of bullshit mountain. And then when the other man says, clearly you can't read a poll, he says, your insults? Did you not just finish insulting the person sitting next to you? I mean, where do they get these people?
The chart, like it's just so hacky. It's so uninteresting.
Look, the reason that we brought this up is because that was from a Democratic senator, a Democratic congressman. I think that there is an acknowledgement broadly among Democrats that what happened in that Abbey Gate incident hurt them. They don't like that it did. They don't think it's fair that it did, but they recognize that it did. And the American people sometimes...
Hurt them with who?
With
voters, people who cast ballots.
Voters writ large. So
you think voters were thinking about Abbey Gate on Tuesday night, really?
No. Okay. I think I'm not telling you, look, we heard Seth Moulton talk about it.
But do we think voters were thinking about?
I remember talking to people at the time that lost faith in Biden because of that.
It became a proxy.
I talked to plenty of people who did not lose faith in the veterans community in Joe Biden as a result.
All right, guys.
So there you have it. Another very delusional Democrat who just refuses to see the writing on the wall, who just refuses to take any responsibility for wrongdoing. He has still convinced himself that the Biden administration was incredible, even though statistics do not prove that, and polling does not state that. But you're just going to ignore that because you want to live in an altered reality and you want us to join in on it. And no, we're not going to do that. No. That's not what the public is going to do. We're going to stay firmly grounded in reality. You can drift off into Neverland whenever you choose. But the bulk of Americans, we're going to stick on business and stand on reality. And he's like, do you really think people went and voted on Tuesday due to Abigate, due to Afghanistan? Yes. Yes, Afghanistan and the border and Ukraine and Israel and everything else with regards to this administration that made it one massive debacle. Yes, it was a whole list of things that made historically Democratic voters vote Republican. Okay, it wasn't just Ukraine. I'm sorry, it wasn't just Afghanistan. It was a whole list of shit. Okay, and the fact that you won't even identify, you won't even recognize that his approval rating went down after that just shows you how just crazy you are. Like, the facts are right here in front of you. It's not like Trump came out with these figures. Like, these are just regular pollsters that are bipartisan. Afghanistan happened way before the 2024 election, and yet you just refuse to believe that people were actually dissatisfied with that decision. Like the man said, it was a bipartisan decision to withdraw from Afghanistan. That's not what people are upset with. People were upset with how it went down and how many people were negatively affected, how many lives were lost, how much chaos. It was a debacle. It was crazy. And then when you put on top of that all this craziness going on at these borders, and of course during the border invasion, Democrats said the border's closed. It's nothing going on there. Close your eyes. It's not happening. Just like with inflation. They put out papers, sat on CNN talking about our records show you're making more money than you ever had, so the economy is good. What? Like, for real? For real. You got people online talking about they can't afford to buy groceries, but you said, based on statistics, they're actually doing better, so that's all hogwash. Okay. And the people say, okay, well, take those statistics and all of those economists' figures and shove it. Okay, take all of your statistics, take all of your records, take all of the data that you've acquired about how amazing we're doing right now and shove it. Okay, that's what Americans said. And on top of that, they've been, oh my God, mainstream media has done an incredible job of losing credibility. I mean, they are masters at it at this point in time, especially after COVID. Okay, after COVID, everybody saw we being lied to, we're being manipulated, and all of these mainstream media outlets that we're watching, they ain't telling the truth. They're not telling the truth. They're telling us what they want us to hear. They're telling us what they want us to know, and those aren't facts. Those are not facts. And so when it came time for Trump to run and then Kamala to be installed, people sat back and waited. They just sat back, watched, listened. They already knew they was being lied to by CNN, MSNBC, and the likes, and was like, okay, all right, well, we already know that they are professional liars, okay? We know that all of these politicians like Kamala and Biden and the Clintons and Obamas are professional liars, so we're going to make our own decisions, okay? We're going to do our own research. We're going to look at other avenues in terms of media, and we're going to get on social media, and we're going to see what other people are saying. People just got on Google and looked up this bill, looked up that bill, looked up what's really happening at the border, looked at what's happening with inflation. Oh, wow. It was 1.9 under Trump and it skyrocketed to 9.1 under Kamala and Biden. Okay. People did their own research, which mainstream media was not prepared for them to do. And they made a decision. And they made a decision that y'all need to sit y'all ass down somewhere. They made the decision that y'all need to get out. Okay, and you just gonna have to accept that. And this man is talking about the election is not over. It's never over. What are your plans, sir? 72 plus million people just elected Trump, and you saying it's not over? It's never over. So what are your plans? Okay, because last I thought y'all were all mad about Trump being an insurrectionist and not accepting the results of the election, and now that it was a landslide, it's not over. Okay. But we crazy. Trump voters are crazy. Okay. So what we are doing is sitting back with our popcorn and watching y'all put on a hellified show, okay? Y'all are out here acting a damn fool, which is why you don't need to be in office. Which is why you don't need to be running this country. Why you do not need to be the decision makers, because y'all are unhinged and out of your minds. And so thank you, everybody who voted the Democrats out of office. I salute you. So again, thank you so much for joining me with this commentary. I would love to hear your opinion, so please do comment. If you have not already subscribed, please do so I can continue to do these videos and continue to just indulge in this YouTube journey. Again, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Drea Banu, and this is the Community Ledger.